Hey everybody, welcome to, well, I guess episode 110. 109 I had some issues with, so instead of just omitting it for now, I'm just going to skip ahead to episode 110. So right now there is no 109 on that I've posted. I have the video, but and I won't really get into the video. It wasn't my. It was a review. One of my, like I did with heavy metal, but on the movie Rock and Roll. And the issue was, I don't know what the issue was, but apparently it got me a copyright strike, and was asked. I had to pull it down, and that was like 5 minutes after it uploaded. So apparently I did something wrong, more so than I normally do in the video. But that's neither here nor there. It got me, I've been kind of wanting to kind of address a lot of things lately, and so I'm going to address them now. My first thing that I just want to let everybody know is A, the channel is not stopping. B, I'm going to not be posting 5 days a week anymore, and I'll tell you why. And C, just my kind of general thoughts about YouTube and just doing this as a whole after doing it for 6 months, or almost 6 months now. 6 months, since I started before I actually posted my first video. But I've been working on this for about 6 months, almost every day. For the most part, and after 100 plus videos in 6 months, posting 5 days a week, with the exception of I think there was 1 week, when I went on vacation where I didn't post. I've got some things to say about that. So the first thing I wanted to address was, again, I'm not going to post every day. And here's the reason why. As you can see, if you look through my channel, all of my videos are kind of all over the place. And I never really had a clear idea of exactly where I wanted to go with the channel. I knew I wanted to make a YouTube channel, but I really didn't know what to do, per se. Obviously, the stuff that I know the most about is what I know, what I do for a living. However, I'm not going to get into making a YouTube channel on that, simply because the stuff that I do is would get me kicked off YouTube. I can't. There's no way to like talk about it, in code or like arbitrary, I can't really discuss it without getting into all of the facts about it, and it's not going to work on YouTube. So I can't really discuss that, it being the thing that I know the most about, that probably is the best information that I can give to anybody. And again, you want to send me requests, comments, or ask me, email me direct. My email is right there on the channel, at mastabas2112@gmail.com. That's my main email address. It's my business email address. I mean, you can email me at any questions you have, and I'd be more than happy if I got the time. Bear with me on the time to to answer any questions, or if you're just interested in general. So that's out there as well. But yeah, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with the channel, and I started out. I was still real heavily, not heavily, but I was. Actually, technically I was on the outs of collecting, of action figure collecting, kind of following the toy community for the last couple of years, collecting toys myself, and, I knew going in that it would be problematic in the long run, but I kind of was, in the heat of the moment, and I find now that, it is very problematic, for a number of different reasons. Probably, obviously, the most notable is space and whether or not you can afford it or not. And because prices are rising so drastically on the stuff, and there's just so much stuff coming out, that I'd be interested in getting. I don't have the space, and I don't have the money to buy it. So that's why it kind of just got nipped in the bud. I'm happy with what I got. I probably might sell a few items here and there, but for the most part, I want to keep the parts of the collection because I like the stuff. I find collecting as a whole to be problematic, even though I love collecting stuff. I've collected stuff my entire life. I mean, I like to find things and stuff. I just find it to be a problem. If left unchecked, it can spiral out of control pretty quickly. So there's that, and I can go into more detail on that if you want me to. I could. That in itself is not just one video, but at a minimum 10 videos alone, 10-hour-long videos alone. Again, I apologize for the fan. Actually, Alexa, turn off the fan.
Okay.
Sorry. It is getting a little blowy on me here. I said, I don't have my little desk fan went kaput, and my regular one of those Honeywell fans. I got it right here, but it's a little too much fan, but I need something when I'm working to keep my hands from sweating. And especially when you sweat on this Wacom tablet. I need to get one of those little gloves at some point. I just haven't got one. But, so, where was I? Okay, so the action figure thing. Now as far as the channel goes, obviously I kind of directed it more in a music fashion, and I was kind of, as I was getting out of action figure collecting, I decided to jump into record collecting. And which is fine. It can be just as, for all of the same reasons, it can be just as problematic as the action figure collection. However, I kind of running into a few different things with that. For one thing, like I said, I made a list of all of the albums that I would possibly want to own. And by and large, I can't think of more than 150 albums. 200 at the most albums that I'd want, right? I've got now currently like 70 albums, so I'm like, almost halfway there. So at some point, it's just like when I was collecting, the Masters of the Universe stuff, I said I'm only collecting 82 to 84 in the Origins. So basically, the stuff that came out back in those 3 years, back when I was into it as a kid, I just want the stuff from those 3 years. I don't want anything else that's like new or that was after that. I just want those 3 years. And I've got 99.9% of it. The last 0.5%, or, whatever, we'll do the math. The last little, scrap left, I don't think is going to be made. I don't think they're going to do it. So, essentially, I've got everything that I want. Same thing with the record thing. There's only a certain amount of albums that I want. And I can't, and again, I guess I'll get more into detail. So, one of the problems I'm having in this site was, if I follow the rabbit, pretty much, and the rabbit being that, my Kiss video blew up, right? Oh, everybody likes the Kiss video. Now, for whatever reason, whether everybody likes the Kiss video, whether the algorithm, which most likely had a lot to do with it, or there's a huge Kiss following, which I don't doubt on that either. A huge Kiss following out there, and Kiss seems to be such a huge thing that a lot of people checked it out. I'm looking at my analytics. My I think over like 70% of my people who watch this channel are ages like 50 to 65 or 64, right? So pretty much all the people that liked Kiss back in the late 70s, from young people like myself to teenagers, right? And that's pretty much, all of my viewers. And the other 30% are like ages like 55 to over that, older. So obviously nobody really under the age of, I would say nobody under a Gen Xer is current, a mid-range of a Gen Xer, not a young Gen X, but a mid-range, like myself, mid-range Gen X and older, I don't think there's anybody who really pays attention to my channel whatsoever. So that's problematic there. And again, if everybody is all Kiss, my problem with that is, and I said this before, there's only a certain amount of Kiss albums that I wish to purchase and own. Right? Now, that's not saying I can't just review Kiss albums that I don't have and just go over them like I have been, which I can do. But, like I said, the whole point of this was to, buy the album, blah, blah, blah. Well, that wasn't the whole purpose, but that's how I kind of went in that direction. And, after getting the Dynasty album, I gotta say, I really don't want any of the rest of the Kiss albums. Sure, I'd like to find the rest of the 3 solo albums, but I don't need them. And maybe Kiss Alive 1, and maybe the first album. Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, I even looked at Unmasked, and I listened to Unmasked, on YouTube Music. I'm like, oh God, this is not a good album. I don't care to own it, and not for $25. And then I listened to The Elder, and The Elder, it's funny. The Elder is just funny. But at the same time, not for the money that they want for it, I don't want to pay for it. And even Kiss Alive 2, I don't want to pay $30-some for that album. And here's the thing. I know I made the video about Discogs, about, hey, try Discogs out. I've learned something since that video. I made that video after the fact. And it seems like, so I didn't know about it when I made that video, but supposedly there's some problems with Discogs where Discogs themselves has raised their percentage of what they're taking out of their buyers by a considerable amount. And so they in turn encourage their sellers to raise their prices on their records. And I've noticed that. And that's problematic. I mean, the whole reason I suggested in my video was to go there because if you don't want to buy the reissue and you want the original pressing, you could probably find that they're cheaper and in good condition. That's not really the case anymore, I found. I was looking for some of those Kiss albums, like the first album, or looking for Kiss Alive 2, and I've been looking for them or the other solo albums, I was looking for them on Discogs, and even in, bad shape, they're going for about the same price as they're going for a reissue, brand new reissue on Amazon. So I'm like, I ain't gonna do it. My other issue with Discogs, and I'm going through this now personally at the moment, is the whole issue with the Transformers the movie soundtrack. I don't know why. That's one of the albums I wanted, and I knew it was going to be hard to get, and I knew it was hard to. It's a hard album to find, and it was one of the main ones that I really wanted in my collection. And of course, this is the one that's giving me the worst problems. Now, I ordered a copy from somebody online for about $20, maybe $24 with shipping. And it was an unopened, sealed copy, original pressing, from 1986. And I still don't have it. I've gotten a message from the post office saying that I need to confirm my address. So I said, okay, why you guys don't have my address is beyond me, seeing that I've been ordering from Discogs, and my shipping address comes right up. So, okay, is this a scam? I don't know. It says uspostalservice.com or whatever it is, .org. I think it's business or government. Oh, because it's government owned. I said, okay, this must be legit. So I go to confirm my address, and they want an extra 30 cents for postage. Okay, that's not a big deal. 30 cents is not a big deal, but the problem is why? Why? This makes no sense. So I paid the 30 cents, it's deducted from my account. I see that they didn't deduct all of my money, that it was a scam. And they still didn't give me any follow-up on whether or not that I even did it correctly, or it was so complicated and it made me so angry trying to get this hashed out. So then I went to the seller and asked the seller, which is a store on Discogs, and asked them, hey, I still haven't received my album. Here's the issues. What's going on? All they sent me back was, you need to confirm your address. Why? It's sitting right there. If you're looking at my profile page, the person who purchased the album, it says right there what my shipping address is. Why are you asking for me again? Here it is. What the hell is going on with that, right? That pissed me off so much that I don't think I want to use Discogs ever again, just because of that one instance. I think I'm done. You know, I guess it's a weird time. The other problem is, now this is the other problem with YouTube now, with my YouTube channel, is I noticed that this can't go on at the current model that's going on. I can't just keep buying things. It seems like the only time anybody really pays attention to my stuff is if I buy something and I show it online. And it seems like, I mean, the album thing's not really that big of a deal, although, like, again, I don't really care to buy any more Kiss albums, and it seems like those are the only ones people care about. So I can't, because nobody cares to be, here's the thing. You can't say that the videos suck, whether or not they do or not, because in order to, it's just like going to see a movie. I want to go see the new Disney Star Wars movie, right? Okay. Does it suck? I don't know. But I still have to pay the money to go view it to make that assertion. Sure, people can say, hey, this movie sucks, don't go see it. I don't know until I see it. That's right. So it's the same thing with a YouTube video. You don't know it sucks or it's good until you viewed it, and therefore you get a view. But with certain videos only getting like 10 views, right? Nobody's even taking the time to even get that far. And probably solely based on just, you know, the fact is it's not a Kiss video. It's not, you know, it's something off the charts. The other thing people seem to be responding to is my unboxing of my cheap guitars, right? I know that's a thing online. It seems like every time I don't know, I want to say that I'm clairvoyant, but it seems like every time I tap into something, it seems like suddenly there's a whole world. And it has nothing to do with me. It has to deal with, that's just the way the world is, and that's the way the internet works, right? You don't know about it until you've tapped into it, and then suddenly you're the algorithm now spitting you 90 quadrillion different videos on the exact same subject. You get the impression, oh, this is a thing. But the problem is, if you're getting free guitars from these cheap companies, right, then you can do those all day long. But when you're buying them out of your own pocket, we're back down to the same discussion here about the action figures, now about music, or albums. There's only so much space, and there's only so much money, right? At the end of the day, everything comes down to those two things. Money and space. And space kind of technically plays into money, because if you got a lot of money, you would have more space for more junk, right? So again, I can't keep making videos on my buying a bunch of guitars all the time, because I don't, and for one thing, I don't care to. Sure, there's a few more I'd like to have, but I mean, realistically, no. You know, so I can't keep making those videos. So those videos obviously stop. I'm not really buying any more Kiss albums, and I've pretty much reviewed most of the Kiss stuff that I do like. And, you know, and I don't really care to get that deeply involved in the lore of Kiss to make videos on it. I love the band, obviously, you know, and I'm a fan, definitely a fan of Kiss. But I don't care to know everything, and I guess this goes along the lines of anything that I'm into. I guess I'm not a fan, because again, this goes back to my argument I had in a few videos ago. A fan is a fanatic, right? And I'm not a fanatic about many things. I have an interest in something, you know, maybe it's a surface interest, maybe it goes a couple of layers below, but I'm not this crazy, gotta dig to the bottom of everything. I just don't care. And I don't have the time, and I don't have the energy to get that involved in anything. So, you know, I at the end of the day, I can only go so deep, and I think I've gone about as deep as I can go, and so there's no real reason to keep talking about it. I feel like Frank Zappa. You know, why Star Wars won't work? Why does everybody keep talking about it? anyways, yeah, so I've kind of reached, after 100 videos, I've kind of reached an impasse, and I've kind of learned how this works. And, and that's not to say, it's like, oh, you should get, you can't give up, you got to stick to it, blah, blah. I'm not giving up. I'm definitely, hitting the brakes a bit, slowing down a bit, not doing 5 videos a week. But to me, it's every day. It's 24, or it's 7 days a week, because I was recording a cache of videos. So to me, it was just nonstop. To you guys, it's 5 videos a week. And I would rather take that hour and a half of time every day and put it back into my stuff that I actually am making money at. And that's what I'm kind of doing, with the exception of when something comes along from here on out that I feel that, maybe it's just I just want to sit back and vent and talk to you guys for a little while, and I'll make these videos as well, or I'll complain about shit. Because it seems like everything's just pissing me off lately. And I think, I've got a couple of things. I hate this time of year. I hate the Christmas season. I don't like the winter. I don't like the cold. And I always get kind of a seasonal depression going into this time of year every year. I have since I was a kid. Even when I was a kid and I loved Christmas, loved getting the presents and blah, blah, blah. I still get this, I get anxious. Everything seems to really get on my nerve. I get really, really hyper sensitive to everything, and my patience goes out the window. And, and the family Christmases aren't what they used to be because of I'm not going to get into that situation, but there's some situations going on with the parents and stuff, and, I'm not really looking forward to going to Christmas this year. So there's that. And on the other flip side of it is, I'm about to take a huge financial hit, and I don't know how quickly I can recover from it. And again, so this ties into buying shit. I can't really afford to keep buying the shit like this, even if it's just for my own personal, satisfaction, my own personal want, not even making videos or talking about it, just buying stuff that I enjoy. I can't really do it right now. Like I said, I'm about basically going to lose all of my money, which is very, very little to begin with. And I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to bounce back from it. I've also noticed that the business is kind of, it's because of the inflation, and because of people just like myself, that are in situations where they can't afford, they don't have a lot of discretionary money. And what I do is entertainment. And most of the time, usually during hard times, seems like entertainment flourishes. And I'm hopefully banking on that in hard times financially, with the state of the economy, usually people, they double down on their entertainment because it's usually cheaper than what else they spend their money on, and it keeps their mind off of the current state of things. So I'm kind of hopefully banking on that's going to keep everything alive going into the next 18 months. And seeing where, like I said, whether it's true or not, I sense an economic disaster coming for a lot of people very soon. Just the world's just so changing in such a weird way, that I just, I kind of brushing it off, but I sense that there's doom and gloom coming up. I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm just saying I sense that there's an issue coming up. Also, I got situations where, like, trying to do the rock and roll video, and now I get a copyright strike against me, and I'm like, what did I really do wrong that I didn't do in the other videos? I'm like, okay, I showed, some pictures of the film. I talked about it. I mentioned it. I didn't play any of the movie. What's going on? Didn't understand that. So that is what it is. So again, going forward now, even talking about stuff that I don't have to go out and buy, you know, things that I either already own or things that, you know, I don't need to technically have a physical copy of it, but I know it exists and I like to talk about it because I enjoy it. You know, like, just, if you're talking about just like, whatever, you know, streaming TV, you know, like Ahsoka or something like that. I mean, obviously, you got to pay for that because you have to have, what do you call it, Disney Plus. Obviously, there's ways around it. I'm not advocating for that either, but you know, that's kind of how I consume content, whether it's YouTube or just watch streaming services. That's how I kind of can, you know, it's just like having cable. So I could talk all day on that, but again, you know, if I talk about it and I show pictures of it, you know, or clips or whatever, and I get copyright struck again, it's just like, okay, well, for one thing, I'm not even monetized yet, and I'm so, you know, not even just getting started, and I'm already running into these barriers. And then I noticed, as you noticed before, a few of my other videos I had to take down as well. I didn't get copyright strikes specifically, but they were blocked in all regions of the world. So it's just like, okay, well, might as well just take it down because nobody can view it. If it's blocked in every region, including the United States, which, again, looking at my analytics, like 75% of my people are all from the United States, right? Plus, nobody really watches the videos. Watched those videos anyways. Look, they're like 15 views. Pull them. So, you know, about 3 of them, I think. So I had to pull those. You know, it's just like, obviously I'm cutting my teeth on YouTube, but I don't think I have the patience to do it. There's too many things that just seem like they really piss me off. And I don't like things going in certain directions that seem to be inevitably gonna screw me in the long run. Meaning, like, you know, hey, what's your most popular video? Whatever the most expensive is to produce. You know, whatever's the most inconvenient for you to produce, that's the one everybody wants to watch. The stuff that you generally, you know, can get away with on the cheap and can do, you know, is just you know, and putting minimal effort into. Yeah, nobody wants to watch it. No kidding, Sherlock. You know, so why do you think, like, Mr. Beast puts all that money into his productions? Because everybody wants to watch it because it's a spectacle, right? I was under the impression, and obviously I knew about the YouTube, because my son watches YouTube, and I see all the sensationalism and stuff. But I was just under the impression, because a lot of the people I watch aren't like that. Like, his viewing and my viewing is different. My viewing is a lot of like this. It's a lot of just listening to people talk. People with, you know, 2,000 subscribers, you know, and they get like maybe 150 to 500 views on their videos a month. But they're talking about subjects that I generally like, you know, and yeah, I'm sure I'll click on the picture with, you know, the video with the hot chick and give her a view, right? But I mean, I don't subscribe to those people, and I don't really, you know, happen to, you know, like the ASMR girls or something like that. I mean, I'll click on them once in a while, you know, watch their videos, you know. But the thing is, the ones I really like are the people that are doing similar things that I've been. They're talking about things that I either don't know about and would like to know more about, you know, or something like, hey, I want a little bit more, you know, I want a little bit more information on that. Or, hey, I just want to sit down and chillax. And they happen to be talking about cheap guitars. Hey, I'm going to watch it. I happen to be talking about Masters of the Universe action figures. New ones coming out. Okay, what's going on? You know. But, and those kind of, even the toy community ones are kind of, I was seeing problems with that. I think I see problems with this whole thing as itself. Just seems to be problematic. The whole YouTube in general. It's just that it's all about getting clicks because you want that ad revenue. So at the end of the day, people are going to do whatever they can humanly do to get as much revenue out of it as possible. Which means if they have to sensationalize, they sensationalize. If they need to be hyperbolic, they're hyperbolic. They need to put some chick's ass up on every frickin', what do you call it, thumbnail. They're going to put chick's hot ass up on every video. thumbnail. They're going to do what they're going to do to maximize profits, just like any company, any corporation, and I don't care. I don't care for it. I don't. I just don't care for it. It just doesn't appeal to me. The work that I do, and this is probably why I'm not as successful as I should be, is I try not to sensationalize my own work as far as my comics, and that what I do. I don't try not to sensationalize it. I just do what I love, and I try not to. And I've noticed this is also shooting myself in the foot because this happens all the time. This I can talk about with the general crowd is I do a lot of parody and I do a lot of fan art, right? And a lot of it's unlicensed fan art from fill in the blank, copyright holder, whoever owns the property. And I get away with doing it because of fair use laws, and parody. And the problem is, though, is if I follow what's just like this, if I follow the Kiss video, if I follow the cheap guitar unboxing, if I follow whatever is getting me the most views and the most money coming in, I kind of lose sight of what I wanted to do in the first place. And I kind of start just chasing. I'm just like everybody else. I start chasing for the profit, and I gotta say, I really don't like to do that. Sometimes you have to because you got to pay the bills and keep the lights on and keep food on the table. But at the same time, I don't like to do that. I like to do what I literally like to do, and for me, it's telling stories. And I like to tell stories. I like to tell a certain type of story that's probably not a lot of people's cup of tea, yet it is a lot of people's cup of tea. Obviously, because, people are enjoying what I do. And it, but again, I'm currently working on an issue right now, my own comic, which is about 50% of my income. And, I'm taking a chance with it because I'm kind of moving in the direction of something I want to do. The last couple of issues I did what I wanted to do, but I still I had one foot into keeping it doing, get as many people as possible by using certain characters that people want to see. And for one thing, I like the characters that I used, so I don't mind that. But the problem is I can't use the same ones over and over again. I like to use different characters a lot because I like to draw a whole myriad of different characters and tell a myriad of different types, the same story but in different, different. I like to go down different avenues with it and tell it, differently. And so I'm kind of taking a chance with it now and doing my own thing. So I'm just checking the time here. So hopefully that's not going to backfire right at the worst time, going into the worst time of the year, also going into, a thing looming over my head that's going to basically, cripple me financially for a while. So I've got a lot of stuff on the plate, and again, I think it's probably amplifying my frustration is the best word for it, with how this YouTube channel's going. So again, I wanted to make this video just so I don't just disappear and be like, why is he not posting videos? I obviously gave up. I'm not giving up. Right now I just don't really have anything to talk about outside of stuff like this. I can just ramble, about what pisses me off, which maybe some people like. Yeah, I don't have, there's not really much left. You pretty much know what I have as far as there's a few little things here and there that people have no interest that I have, and they don't want to see a video on it, right? So I pretty much, I've laid all my cards on the table. I don't have much more. And again, yeah, I always, a friend of mine, he used to have this written on his kitchen, on a chalkboard in his kitchen, and it's been kind of my motto, unfortunately, for way too long is, due to the current economic situation, the light at the end of the tunnel will be permanently turned off, or temporarily turned off, or whatever, but the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be turned off for a while due to the current economic situation. So I love that line, and unfortunately it's been a motto in my life at 50 years old way too many times. So, you know, there's that goes along. I mean, like I said, I was just watching something. I'm not going to get into this either. I was watching something this morning on YouTube while I was working, or listening to it, more than watching it. And it got me just really pissed off about just the YouTube and people and just the internet in general. I don't know, just like I said, I'm really hypersensitive right now at this time of the year, and because of the current situations going on, really hypersensitive to things that really, it doesn't take much to send me 0 to 60, you know, in a matter of seconds. A lot of things just ticking me off. So that said, as far as videos going forward, I'll probably post this tomorrow. It's Thursday today. Today is the day I was going to post 109, and it didn't work. And it didn't work in a bad way. So I'm going to probably post this tomorrow. I just don't feel like posting this today at all. I'll just post it tomorrow and let it go out there over the weekend. People can watch it. And, you know, like I said, tell me, you know, here's the, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to like 10 people. And I don't mind talking to the 10 people. I enjoy talking to 10 people. You know, but at the end of the day, I don't really have the time, and I don't really have the fortitude at the current moment to kind of labor it outside of doing this type of thing, you know, just talking to somebody. You know, I can't afford to keep doing this. I mean, people who are, if you were watching this video from the get-go, you probably would have sensed this coming, you know, a long time ago. Like, this is not good. This guy cannot possibly keep making this many videos a week, and he's going to run out of things to talk about, and he's going to run out of money to keep talking about things. And you know, because I mean, you look at my numbers, like you look at somebody who's got, like, you know, 150,000 subscribers, and they're talking about, you know, getting all the shit that they have. They're probably getting the shit from the companies because they've got a huge following, or B, they can, because they're making enough money on YouTube, or wherever, they're taught, you know, they have enough money to keep buying the shit, to keep putting it on the video. But, you know, when it comes down to looking at somebody with very, very, not even a blip on the radar numbers of subscribers, you got to realize they're not, whatever they're doing, they're not getting it from YouTube. So again, I'm just throwing this out there, you know. I guess after 6 months, it's time for the existential crisis, which I seem to, about every 6 months, I think I usually go through an existential crisis, whether it's related to this or whatever, just life in general. Seems like something comes along that, you know, fucks everything up. So, that said, and again, I'm not going to broadcast the economic situation online, but if you want to know, email me, talk to me, I'll tell you what's going on. I'm just not going to put it out on in the video here. Like I said, I'm a pretty transparent person. I mean, I'll tell you how many times I shit every day, you know, and what it looks like. So I have no issues with talking about stuff. Certain things I like to keep to myself, but I'm pretty transparent with, I would say, 90% of my life. As Richard Simmons says, I like to keep a little 10% for myself. Sorry, I saw him in an interview once. It was Barbara Walters. This is when he wrote that book, like towards the end of his career, and he said they were talking about, because they want to know if he's gay, and he didn't come out and say anything. You know, obviously we know the answer to that, but he said, he's like, Barbara, I put 90% of my life into this book. I want to save a little 10% for myself. For some reason, that's freaking hilarious. Anyways, sorry. I will let you get back to your whatever, and I'm gonna get back to my whatever, and I'll catch you in the next video. Might be Monday, probably will be Monday, most likely. I'll probably have something to bitch about, even if I don't have anything that, I have no show and tell. So we'll get back to that in there. And, again, I'll notice over the weekend that this video gets 10 views. And this video will probably be less, mark my words, this video will be less popular than my police video. I didn't realize the band The Police was the bane of the world's existence, but apparently The Police and Dark Tower, the board game, are what do you call it? It's like talking about I don't even know what the analogy to make about it. But anyways, all right, 40 minutes. Let's call it quits there. I gotta make a dumb thumbnail for this, which will probably be sarcastic and offensive, so I'll do that. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye bye.